Welcome to the Real Estate Guys radio program. I'm your host, Robert Helms. Once a year, we join a bunch of investors and an amazing faculty for our annual Investors Summit. This year marked our 20th annual summit, and this week we're going to share with you a bunch of the faculty members and some of the great ideas we shared. With part 2 next week, we hope you enjoy it today on the Real Estate Guys radio program. The Real Estate Guys are throwing a party and you're invited. Join us live at the New Orleans Investment Conference, October 12th through 15th. Now in its 48th year, it's the nation's longest running investment conference and features some of the biggest names in economics and investing, including Jim Rickards, Danielle DiMartino Booth, Rick Rule, Doug Casey, James Grant, and George Gammon. And of course, the Real Estate Guys are speaking again this year, plus we're hosting an awesome party one of the evenings with some very special guests. So make plans today to join the Real Estate Guys at the New Orleans Investment Conference. With all that's going on in the world, no serious investor can afford to miss it. Send an email to neworleans@realestateguysradio.com and we'll get you all the details. That's neworleans@realestateguysradio.com. Welcome to the Real Estate Guys radio program. I'm your host, Robert Helms, with a live studio audience. We are at the 20th Annual Investors Summit on Sand with a whole bunch of awesome, fabulous, sunburned people, and we've got a lot to share. In fact, there's so much. This week and next week, we're going to bring you little snippets from our faculty. Russell Gray, tell us about the week so far.
Well, it's been fantastic, of course, because we have so many brilliant people, and it's not just the faculty, but it's all of the summiteers. These people come from varying backgrounds, various marketplaces, different product niches, different perspectives. Some are younger, some are older, some remember history, some are learning it for the first time. And we're having these powerful conversations as we're looking at the bigger picture. You know, day to day, you're in the daily grind, you're working through doing your deals and figuring out what you're doing, putting your financials together, paying your taxes, doing whatever you do to generate income. All of that, and it's just great to get away and look at the big picture. We operate our portfolios in this ecosystem where there's a lot of dynamics, and a lot of times we don't pay attention to them. And now we're getting a chance to hear about some of those things, and for some people it's a real eye-opener. For other people it's like a course adjustment, but wherever you are in the spectrum, there's a lot of great value to be had when you get in the right room with the right people.
So, you know, this is kind of like summer camp for the affluent. We're here for a while together, and the content builds while the networking builds, while the weather builds. I mean, it's all going on at the same time. Day one was pretty extraordinary. What did you guys think of the first day? Crazy out of the park. I had a brand new summiteer tell me, you know what, if that was it, if it was the one day and I stopped now, this thing has blown me away. That's great. We're only on day 3 today, so a lot to do. But Russ, take us through the first day and what the big picture was, thinking about where we are in the economy and how we're trying to navigate what may come next.
Well, I think that for anybody paying attention, a lot of the fundamental flaws in the system are becoming manifest in the numbers that everybody sees and experiences in their daily lives. As real estate investors, you know, we understand interest rates and the importance of interest rates, and interest rates have been rising. So we feel that. We certainly understand as real estate investors dealing with tenants, many of whom live paycheck to paycheck, that the cost of gas, the cost of food is going up. And even though real estate has been going up and rents have been going up, at some point you got to say, hey, if people continue to have increasing costs of living, it's going to be hard for them to absorb rental increases. And so rising interest rate costs and pressure on rents, you really have to be a little bit more strategic. And where's all that coming from? Well, it's coming from a dollar that's collapsing. It's a bond market is going to be affected by rising interest rates. Some people understand what I just said, other people not so much. So part of it was setting the context for what's going on at what we call the macro with the credit markets, the bond markets, things that affect interest rates, what's going on with the currency and why oil is going up denominated in dollars, which is really the dollar is falling denominated in oil. And then how do you navigate all of that? We learned from Dr. Chris Martenson that the energy is the economy, because the economic activity is all driven by energy, and if the cost of energy goes up, the cost of everything goes up. And of course now Main Street is starting to feel that. So people are starting to wake up, they're starting to get concerned and upset. That's going to begin to affect us on Main Street, things that happen on Wall Street, things that happen in the upper echelons of the financial system eventually trickle down. As they say, stuff rolls downhill.
Part of the way that we deal with that is figuring out to navigate the future means we have to change what we've done in the past. This year we re-implemented teaching we haven't done for a long time. We call Capitalism Without Currency. To help us do that, we brought in a brand new Summit faculty member. Let's say hello to Steve Streetman.
Thanks. This has been fabulous so far this week. This is great. I'm having a lot of fun.
We had you speak at Secrets of Successful Syndication about the intersection of real estate and cryptocurrency. That's what your book's about. But we learned as we got to know each other that not only have you been listening for a while, but that you have some expertise in the exchangers world, and you've been teaching us an extraordinary thing. Give us the nickel tour on what we've been doing this week.
Well, we call it a cowboy auction. And for what we're doing in here, it's a personal property auction where we actually trade stuff for stuff. It's vacations or gold or cryptocurrency or services, anything that you have or that you can create, you can trade, and you trade it directly with other people. And what we're doing is we're creating a board where we can make multi-way exchanges. And so you get to see who's interested in what you've got, and you can go through and you can find and make trades. These are directly without currency. You're actually trading stuff for stuff, services for services. We call it a cowboy auction. And in the National Council of Exchangers, where I'm a member, we do this all the time with real estate as well. So it's really kind of an interesting way of doing it because you're not tied to currency, you're not tied to cash, you're tied to assets and willingness and services and notes and other ways of structuring transactions.
Before there was currency, before there was money, there was barter, there was exchange. And we get so used to thinking about everything in terms of our home currency, we can't think the other way. And what we're trying to do this week is break that paradigm and think about the value of something. We've had some extraordinary trades so far, some that have been amazing, some that you wouldn't have thought any would be interested in, that was the most exciting thing to them. And this is the whole thing of value being in the eye of the beholder.
That's absolutely true. And the value is in the eye of the beholder. What may be priced or not priced, my price might be different than your price. The value of something depends on the context too. And we use the example of being out in the desert and you have a bottle of water. That bottle of water may be worth a lot more than the bar of gold you have in your pocket because you need that water. You don't really need the gold. The context changes the value, and every person has their own context. So the things that you want and the things that you need adjust the values of the things that you actually can have. So, I mean, I've made a couple of trades through these auctions myself, even though I was up there and trying to run it, but some people in the room have gotten some really cool stuff. And there's been some amazing things offered that I would never have thought were in the room.
Hey, if you enjoyed the Cowboy Exchange, let us know. Our next faculty member is joining us not for 1 or 2 years, but for his 11th year. Let's welcome Mr. Tom K. Wilson. Tom, welcome. First of all, 11 peppers. Wow, 11 times. Tell us about that.
It's unbelievable. You know, I'm still learning. Isn't that amazing? After all these years. So I really I enjoy the summit. Out of the zillions of conferences I've been in and 2 different careers, this is the most information and relationship rich thing I've ever been to.
When you first started coming, you were attending and you were asking great questions, and then pretty soon we asked you to be on a panel and then to do a breakout, and now a full-fledged faculty member, even though you've done a lot of different things. Specifically at this summit, you've been talking about commercial real estate. Tell us what's up there.
Well, many people never go to commercial real estate beyond residential. I like all 4 asset classes of residential, retail, office, and industrial. I like the diversity of risk and the diversity of product and returns and different opportunities that you can have. They all can do very well. It's very important, though, to pick your relationships, your partners first, and then the market and the timing, and the product is least important. But these different kinds of commercial products can give you a lot of diversity.
And now you actually covered in your session kind of where we are in the different markets, and markets are so specific. There's no one real estate market. So how is it that you pay attention to different types of real estate in different types of places all at once?
Well, it's really important to have experts on your team, and indeed no one can keep up with every market, sub-market, every type of product. So you really need to have resources of different people and different experts that you rely on, either the partners or people that you hire that can keep providing you the market information that you need to know what to look for and where to look for it.
That's Tom K. Wilson. Let's give him a hand. We love new summiteers, we love new faculty members, but we also love it when folks come back again. Coming back for his 6th time, it's the apartment king, Brad Sumrok. Brad, lots of folks are saying we're at the top of the market, cap rates are compressed, this is a crazy time to buy apartments. What do you say?
They're right. And we want to keep buying because it's a great time to get in. Like, it was a better time to get in yesterday, but it's a great time to get in now. Rent growth is at an all-time high. Occupancy is at an all-time high. Pricing is going to continue to go up. Cap rates are going to continue to stay flat or even go down because multifamily is a great place to invest because there's a shortage of housing, and home ownership is being priced out from the family that makes $60,000 to $80,000 a year. So that's why I have my foot on the gas.
This is such a good point. There's the sentiment out there that, well, with interest rates rising, it's harder for people to afford homes. As apartment business owners, we love that, right? When they can't afford homes, yeah, our rates are going to go up a little, but still apartment financing is among the best financing there is.
Yeah, like rates right now are like 5%. And the first deal that I did 20 years ago, I'll never forget, it was like 6.375%. So one of the things that I have is that 20-year perspective of looking at historical numbers. And so, you know, rates are still well below historicals. Plus, with an inflationary environment, getting debt today, it's going to be cheaper to pay back that debt in tomorrow's dollars.
Hey, Brad, last year on the Investor Summit, you showed us a slide that said, a year from now, you'll wish you'd started today. By show of applause, was that true?
And it's still true right now. I'm just telling you, I asked you guys to look at that person sitting next to you and give them that 8 minutes of an uncomfortable eye contact, because some of you just don't believe it. But I'm just telling you, there's a great opportunity, plus the taxes right now. It's the best tax advantages in my lifetime, and those tax benefits are going to start to gradually phase out.
Let's give a hand to Apartment King Brad Sumrok. We're at the 20th Annual Investor Summit on Sand. Mark, come back.
Live nationwide, you're listening to The Real Estate Guys. Find out more at realestateguysradio.com.
Hey, it's Robert Helms. Thanks so much for listening to the show today. I want to personally invite you to come see an amazing real estate market that combines excellent cash flow, offshore diversification, and what we affectionately call lifestyle investing. Come join me from August 26th to 29th in the beautiful country of Belize. The Real Estate Guys have been bringing investors to Belize for more than 15 years now, and our discovery trip is designed to show you the market like nobody else can. Sure, Belize is breathtakingly beautiful, the people are wonderful, and wait till you taste the food. But the real opportunity is the real estate investment potential. Demand for offshore real estate has skyrocketed since the coronavirus shutdown, and with retirees looking for lifestyle, the work-from-home workforce able to be productive from afar, and tourism coming back strong, now may be the perfect time to consider Belize as a place to diversify risk in your investment portfolio. There's all types of opportunity in Belize when it comes to real estate investing, including both long and short-term rentals, commercial and retail triple net properties, business opportunities, land acquisition, development, agriculture, and more. And as the only country in Latin America with English as its official language, it's easy to understand the law. Property rights are strong, and real estate contracts are in English. And at Ambergris Caye, a unique situation exists where demand for rentals continues to outstrip supply, creating a compelling environment for investors. So come see for yourself. Join me in August in Ambergris Caye, Belize, as we study the market, learn about the sustainable drivers, and tour lots of beautiful real estate. And like all of our field trips, there are no properties for sale during the weekend. Rather, you'll meet lots of local providers that will help educate you about the market so that you can follow up with them after the trip if the market is interesting to you. You've heard about Belize and the Real Estate Guys for all these years. Now come see what all the excitement is about. Plus, we'll have lots of time over meals and activities to talk about all things real estate. To get the details, go to the website at realestateguysradio.com and click on events where you'll find the Belize Discovery Trip. Once you register, you'll get information about our group hotel rates as well as travel details. So join me in Belize, August 26th to 29th. It's a beautiful country with lots of amazing possibilities, and the only thing missing is you. Go to realestateguysradio.com under events, and I look forward to seeing you in beautiful Belize.
Hi, this is Frank Holmes, Chief Investment Officer and CEO of U.S. Global Investors, and you are listening to The Real Estate Guys.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Guys radio program, heard every weekend on this fabulous radio station all the time at realestateguysradio.com, and once a year with a live studio audience. In fact, twice a year. Next week, we're going to hear from some of the rest of the faculty. But right now, I want to turn it over to a gentleman who has brought a crowd of Badgers with him from the EQRP company, Damion Lupo. How are you?
I'm so good. It's good to be here. Glad to be back.
How about Damion Lupo? You're applauding now. Wait till you see what he has for you later. Damion, back at the summit. Tell us what it's like.
You know, it's really interesting. I've watched the last few years, like a lot of you guys have, listening and being here, and we're seeing so much fake news and everything. And one of the things I love about being back here is it's real. You get to talk to people that are uncensored, they're uncut, and people's real life experiences. So I love being here because there's hundreds of people that are having real life experiences with real intel, and that's something that's becoming harder and harder to get.
This morning, we asked you to teach an introductory class about investing with retirement funds. So many people think they set it and forget it in their retirement plan, but actually, through the QRP, there is a way for people to unleash a lot of power. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, one of the things that people think in general is that once you have money in a retirement account, it's stuck in a mutual fund. You basically set it and forget it and then hope it actually shows up when you're 60. And we're seeing a lot of people going, oh crap, right now, because their 401ks and their IRAs and their stock market are getting crucified in this environment. And so they're saying, well, what am I supposed to do? So here, you guys know, and in this world of the real estate guys, there's a totally different option. It's called control and being able to choose what you do. So what's happening is people are realizing they don't have to be in Wall Street. They can take their money to Main Street, support things that matter, build things together. And so we're watching people saying, I don't have to go on that roller coaster anymore, the Wall Street roller coaster. I can take control of my retirement account, and I can help other people get off that roller coaster, because there's really nothing good about being on the experience of having no idea, no control, and no real way to predict your future. It's just this default future. Nobody likes that. So this is giving people a chance to design their future. And I think people really appreciate that. It's real news, it's real information, and we're setting people free.
Since you've been here at quite a few summits, what advice do you have for the folks at home who are maybe thinking they ought to come and it's expensive, or the people that are here thinking, how do I get the most out of a week like this?
Well, the first thing I'll tell you is that being cheap is really expensive. And so people that are like, well, I just don't want to spend, and I say, well, you know what, you invest money, and you invest money in yourself. The best investment anybody ever makes is in themselves to start with, and then investing in other people. That's why there's a team of Badgers here. We're investing in other people, and then we can expand our reach into other people. When you're thinking about whether you should invest into yourself or not, the answer is yes. It's that clean. You do it, and what will happen is the ripple effect from that investment continues for years and years, and you don't know what seeds you're planting now, what they're going to turn into. This is the primary environment my team and I spend our time with, because the people here are so engaged. And so the advice is, when you're here, be engaged, be connected to people. Don't go hide in your room, even if you're sunburned. Just put on a hat and get some sunblock and connect. Because ultimately, the best capital we have is the capital in the relationships. That's why we keep coming back.
How about having the cheap honey badger? That's Damion Lupo. You know, we're the Real Estate Guys, but we don't just talk real estate at this event, because even on the show, broader picture economics affect all of us. A gentleman who's joined us for many, many years is actually in the gold and silver business. Let's say hi to Dana Samuelson. Dana, welcome back to Belize.
Thank you, Robert. It's great to be here. I love coming to this event, because not only because of the faculty that you have that has incredible information, and I'm honored to be part of it, but because the people that come here have such a wide, diverse talent set, and they're all willing just to help each other improve. And that's an empowerment environment which you and Russell have created, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful place to be.
Well, what's been fun to watch over the years as you've been here interacting and teaching and learning is you're buying more real estate, and real estate investors are buying more gold and silver. If folks don't know anything about the metals, what is the best course of action?
Precious metals are really quite simple to understand. It's just another product that you can buy. You just need to make sure that you buy products that are competitively priced and widely traded. We stick with U.S. mint-made gold and silver eagles and Canadian mint-made gold and silver maple leafs. Those are the primary products that most people are going to want to have. So it's a great place to get some of your money out of the dollar, which is losing value right now, have a hedge against inflation. If you look at inflation, the number one performing asset in an inflationary environment is real estate. So you're all in the right place. Number 3 on the list is precious metals, but real estate's not always the most liquid or portable, which precious metals are. So they give you a way to pivot into other things and stay out of the dollar at the same time.
It's a good point. Also, we mostly take for granted that we can get, all the metals we want. We can walk into a store, or we can trade dollars for metal. But the reality is we're here in Belize and there are no gold dealers here. There are no silver dealers here. And that's because of the law structure here. There's an import duty when you bring in an ounce of silver. If I bring an ounce of silver into this country, I always have an ounce of silver with me. But when I get this ounce of silver here in Belize, I have a 40% duty to bring it here. So that means a place like this doesn't have access to diversity in investment. And really, in the way, metals aren't an investment. They don't pay dividends, but they are a part of a portfolio.
Yes, if you look at studies, 6 to 8% of your net worth, if you have that in precious metals, you have enough of a hedge to protect yourself in times of crisis, and that's exactly what happened after the great financial crisis. Gold and silver performed just like they're supposed to, but it's not too much where you deny yourself opportunity in other investment areas. So that's the sweet spot for how much gold and silver you might want to have in your portfolio for conservative investors. And we have people that get what I call gold fever, and they go a little bit more aggressive. But for most people, having a little bit is enough to help them when there are times of trouble. And in an inflationary environment, precious metals should do very well over the long haul.
From American Gold Exchange, that's Dana Samuelson. Let's give him a hand. You're tuned to the Real Estate Guys radio program. And the 20th Annual Investors Summit at Sea. We'll be back with Real Estate Trivia.
Hi, this is Kevin Harrington, an original shark from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and you're listening to the Real Estate Guys.
As real estate investors, it's no secret that the real estate guys love Florida, and the Sunshine State continues to receive more than its fair share of businesses and population relocating from the Northeast, which has created a huge opportunity for real estate investors. So come join Russ and me in mid-August for our Jacksonville, Palm Coast, Ocala field trip. On this highly interactive trip, you'll get an up-close, hands-on, personal experience you'd be hard-pressed to find elsewhere. You'll feel the vibrancy of the markets, observe the quality of the infrastructure, and truly get a sense for the demographics, all things you just can't do by simply searching online. Plus, we'll introduce you to our Boots on the Ground team, and you'll meet some amazing investors from all over. To reserve your spot, go to realestateguysradio.com and click Events, where you'll find the Jacksonville Field Trip. There's a big difference between researching a market from afar and seeing it with your own eyes. So join the Real Estate Guys as we explore not one, but 3 amazing real estate markets. Go to realestateguysradio.com and click Events for the Jacksonville, Palm Coast, Ocala Field Trip. See you there. In uncertain times like this, it's great to know there are 2 things you can always count on: high demand for affordable single-family homes to live in, and Terry Kerr's amazing Memphis team at Mid-South Home Buyers to find, fix, and manage the next addition to your recession-resistant real estate portfolio. The Memphis market is logistics and distribution dynamo with an economic engine that's essential to moving goods and critical supplies all over the United States. Quality rehab, proven profitable property management, affordable rents, and solid ROI make turnkey property investing through Terry's team a dream when it matters most. To learn more about Memphis and Mid-South Home Buyers, send an email to midsouth@realestateguysradio.com. That's midsouth@realestateguysradio.com.
Hi, this is Tom Wheelwright, best-selling author of Tax-Free Wealth, and you're listening to Real Estate Guys Radio.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Guys radio show. Now in our 26th year of broadcast. This week's show is from the 20th Annual Investors Summit on Sand. Before we get back to the mayhem, it's time to give you a chance to win a prize, and it's a good one, an autographed copy of Prosper by Dr. Chris Martenson, who you'll hear from in just a little bit. That can be yours if you know today's real estate trivia question. Once you hear it, you're probably going to have to guess. I don't think too many folks will really know, but it is an easily guessable answer. When you're ready, send your best guess to trivia@realestateguysradio.com. trivia@realestateguysradio.com. Give us your name, your guess, and your physical mailing address. The first one that gets it right gets an autographed copy of this awesome book, Prosper. Last show we had David Green from Bigger Pockets with us, and we asked this: where was the world's first rodeo held? Well, the answer was in Pecos, Texas on July 4th, 1883. Here's our real estate trivia question for this week. For the first 17 years of the summit, we did it on a cruise ship. Here's what we want to know. Name any of the 3 ports we visited on the 5th Annual Investors Summit at Sea. That would have been back in 2007. We stopped at 3 ports. Name any one. The first person to get any one of them right will win today. All you have to do is send your best guess, along with your name and mailing address, to trivia@realestateguysradio.com. trivia@realestateguysradio.com. The first person that gets it right gets a copy of Prosper, autographed by Dr. Chris Martenson. That's today's real estate trivia question. We're with a live studio audience in Belize. It's the 20th Annual Investors Summit. Seems like we've been doing this a long, long time. The gentleman you're about to meet originally hails from Germany, and he comes from a real estate family. Part of that transition took him to a different part of the world to do a different thing from Paraguay Ag Invest. Let's say hello to Mr. Carsten Pfau. Carsten, good to have you back with us at the summit.
I'm so happy to be here.
Now tell us about what's going on in the world, and especially the world of agriculture.
Well, agriculture is one of the better hedges against inflation. And since we learned here, inflation is soaring, inflation is going up. So investing in agriculture, like precious metal, the same, it's a perfect hedge against inflation. Because I do oranges, and when the prices for oranges go up, I don't have to change the orange. I just have to charge more.
I had the great opportunity to be in Paraguay a couple of years ago and visually see 1-year oranges, 2-year oranges, 3-year oranges. It was fabulous. Carsten took me out in the field and we took some oranges out and they were delicious, but you could see the growth. And you know what? Those oranges grew no matter which party was in office, no matter what was happening with the world economy. They just grow those things.
That's true. They grow naturally. And that's the good part. So they don't really care about the Dow Jones. They don't care about, as Robert said, who's in charge at the White House, or in the German White House, or in the Japanese White House. Nobody cares. I don't know if there is a Japanese White House, but if there were, the oranges wouldn't care.
My life's not hard enough already, I guess. All right. So let's go. You know, Carsten, one of the things about Paraguay, though, is it gets stinking hot there. And most of us have driven by, and seen the big greenhouses, which are normally designed to keep fruits and vegetables warmer, but not in Paraguay. Talk about what you grow in those greenhouses.
Yeah, we grow tomato. We are right now the largest tomato grower in the country. And we use greenhouses, believe it or not, to cool them down. Which works quite well. We bring it down 3-4 degrees Celsius naturally with no refrigeration. It works well. We also do peppers, believe it or not, peppers. We do cucumber and strawberries. So we do a lot of agriculture. Also do cattle, but we don't need greenhouses for those.
Carsten, my favorite thing about what you do is when I think about farming and farm science and trying to figure out that amazing group of employees you have and all the work they do, and even though a lot of it's automated, you got a killer team. It's really hard to compete with that. And yet you have figured out a way to let investors be part of it. Talk about that.
Yeah, that's true. At some point, we basically sold the underlying land to investors, and then you, as an investor, you participate in what we do. This way, we have zero debt. We are 100% equity. We use our own money and investors' money and no debt.
How about a hand for Carsten Pfau? It took him a lot of airplanes to get here with his beautiful wife. Thanks for being here. Let's meet a man, speaking of stuff below the ground, who focuses on oil and gas. Back on the Investors Summit is Mr. Bob Burr.
Hello, hello, hello. One thing before we leave our friend here.
So, Bob, one of the things we've been talking about this week is the tremendous cost in the price of energy. Energy is the economy, says Chris Martenson. And oil? My goodness, what's going on with that?
Good.
Bob's happy when the price goes up. I know your tenants are paying more at the pump, but they're paying more to Bob. No, in seriousness, Bob, you guys did an amazing thing a few years ago, was to figure out how to help folks who had been hurt in the downturn in oil. Oil went negative, and figure out an amazing way, win-win way to get access to a bunch of that. Tell us about that project.
There are several factors involved in this whole development. Think of a second of a couple, 70 years old, that have made their living from the oil and gas business. They've got 20 wells, they're producing 5 barrels a day. They have X amount of bucks coming in. They're too old in their minds, maybe too tired to continue drilling and trying to develop. And so all of a sudden the COVID hits, prices go negative. Well, they had this $500,000 annually coming in. It took care of their whole clan. Now they have 100,000 or 50,000 coming in. So they have a decision to make. Do I gear up? Do I ride the horse again? Can I stand a bucker? Can I go? Or do I just get out? Well, we have to allow these folks get out. And it worked out good for them. They got cash. They retired. They go on about the world. And then we come in, the boys and I, and you folks, and we start developing the properties. So that's the deal. Now the government, our friendly bureaucrats, are getting involved in our business in a tremendous way. Major oil companies are being squeezed. Banks are tightening on the money. So all of a sudden, the exploration teams are sitting idle. Louisiana in itself took back 50,000 offshore drilling acreage that used to be the haven for all major oil companies. The rigs out there, the platforms, drilling and making tremendous reserves. That's not available. They're running scared. Just last week, a friend of mine, and we may do some of this, I don't know yet, but a friend of mine drilling $5 million wells in South Louisiana, onshore. Well, Shell financed him for all this drilling on this field, $5 million a throw at like 7% interest. However, they want all the oil. So they're subbing out their exploration efforts through guys like Bob Burr. They're so afraid they got this $1 billion gas plant and they're not being able to increase their reserves, so they're in trouble. And that's where we are with this thing. Now, what's that do for, we're capitalists. I'm sure you're here to learn how to make money. I like to pride myself on being a generous capitalist. Some capitalists aren't. I think that's an error. Generous in the sense of, Carnegie said years ago, take my money, take my coal, take everything I have, leave me my people and I'll see you tomorrow. And I believe in my people making big money when Robert makes big money. That's how I work. That includes my partners, everybody. It's no fun. What's money? What the hell is money unless you have buddies and people to share and live your life? Money is just a medium of getting us where we get to come here. We get to share here. I was sitting on the porch the first day we were here, and that day happened to be June the 10th. Well, June the 10th in '84, I quit drinking. That's a big day for me. My wife called me and I'd forgotten the day. She said, you know the day, what the day? And it dawned, I sure do. And so I'm sitting here in this beautiful paradise, watching the folks come in, all fired up. You can feel the energy just coming all over them. And I am sensitive when it comes to this sort of thing because I pick up in a hurry. And I'm sitting in this paradise making all the money you want to make. Maybe not all you want to make, but a lot. And just think, 30-something years ago, I was nearly dead. So all of this, and it's because of you people, the energy, the love you bring here. These guys have, I'll call it our tribe, if I may. It's beautiful. Golly, the young folks, when you come in here and you're learning and they give it to you freely, they pour their hearts out. Peter Schiff did a hell of a job the other day. This guy was the best I've ever heard him. It was gorgeous. And he just gives it away. Now just think, if you would, I used to recruit sales guys. And I'd bring a whippersnapper in there and he's prancing pretty good. And I said, well, let me tell you what's going to happen here, son. I said, we're capitalistic people around here with a lot of generous giveaways. In essence, when you walk in here, you're mine. And you don't ever have to look any further because I will take care of your ass all the way, good, bad, and indifferent. I work for you unconditionally. If that means Friday morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, I got to bail you out of jail for a DWI, count me in. That's not work for me. That's what I do. I'll come up with a smile. I might be madder than hell, but you won't see it. And that's what we do. So when you're starting out in this syndicating business, it's not easy. It's tough. Think of you walking up a mountain 5 miles high. You got a pick. That's all you've got. You're going to bust your toe. You're going to break your hammer. You're going to fall. You're going to be bloody. It's going to give you every gut check it can give you. And then you're at the top and you look around and you're financially able. You're independent, you're your own man, you got your family. That's the reward. Now, do you have it in you to do that? By God, I believe most of you guys do. And that's what we all do, so.
That's a good friend, Bob Burr, at the 20th Annual Investors Summit on the Sand.
Real estate investment advice right in your mailbox. Sign up for the free Real Estate Guys newsletter at realestateguysradio.com.
For thousands of years of human history, silver has been recognized as money. Then in 1965, the United States took silver out of the financial system. But did silver stop being money? Smart investors don't think so. And ever since, when there are concerns about the quality of the currency, alert investors seek shelter in silver and gold. As the size and frequency of major financial crises grow, silver is attracting a lot of attention. To help better understand the what, why, and how of silver, watch the free 9-part series, Making Sense of Silver. Everything you always wanted to know about silver but didn't know to ask. Featuring 30-year precious metals veteran Dana Samuelson. Send your email requests to silverseries@realestateguysradio.com. Whether you own silver now or you're wondering if it's too late, email silverseries@realestateguysradio.com.
If you love real estate and have always wanted to own your own business, listen up. The Real Estate Guys and their panel of experts want to teach you how to go full-time fast in the real estate syndication business. These next few years may go down in history as one of the best times ever to acquire investment real estate. There are deals everywhere if you know where to look and how to assemble the resources. The Secrets of Successful Syndication seminar will show you how to make big money doing big deals from a team of experts that have syndicated projects totaling more than $1 billion. Don't wait for someone to give you a raise expertise, or create a job for you. Attend the Secrets of Successful Syndication and learn how to build a team, raise capital, find deals, and make full-time money in 6 months or less. Go to realestateguysradio.com and click on events. All the big players use syndication as a way to diversify risk, optimize profits, and earn big money. You can too. Go to realestateguysradio.com and click on events.
Hi, this is Steve Forbes. You're listening to The Real Estate Guys. Have fun. You'll learn something.
We're in beautiful Ambergris Key, Belize at the 20th Annual Investor Summit this year on sand. And a few minutes ago, lots of you learned about real estate and finance from this gentleman. He's a commercial lender and part of our syndication mentoring program, Mr. Anton Mattli. Hey, Anton.
Hey, Robert. Thanks for having me.
Well, we've had you at a few events, and you've taught a lot on financing to our tribe, but this is your first summit. What's your impression so far?
Yes, it's my first summit. It's absolutely great. Obviously, it's a great faculty, but just the attendees, the diversity of the attendees is just absolutely fabulous. We meet so many different people. Absolutely great.
Now, a lot of talk about interest rates rising, and this is the place you deal, and I'm sure you're always talking to folks. Give us some perspective on that, especially in commercial financing. Your company does lots of different commercial, but you focus on apartments. Rates are going up, but what is the landscape like when it comes to these loans today?
Yes, rates are going up, and they're going up fast. This could not be a better time to actually talk about interest rates. The 10-year Treasury just raised up to 3.35% today. Debt markets are in turmoil, and the short-term rates are also moving up, as we have heard from Chris and from Peter. The situation is really tricky. And as a result, with the Fed rates moving up, short-term rates for borrowing are also moving up. We have already seen that for the short-term bridge loans, rates have moved up from the low 3% for the large loans to more than 5%. The 10-year fixed rate Fannie and Freddie for multifamily properties, which are very typical, where we were just a few months ago in the 3.5% range. Now we are around the 5 to 5.25% range. So it's a big difference just over a couple of months.
Now, when you talk to somebody about a bigger commercial loan, it's different than residential loans. We have a lot of folks here who are just getting started in real estate and buying little houses and stuff. We have over 30 people in our Young Investors program, ages 18 to 35. If you've met a really cool young person, let us know about that. So what are the big things people need to know about making the jump from little greenhouses to big red hotels?
The big difference really is that when you buy a property that is a residential, your personal debt to income ratio is an absolute key in addition to your credit score. When you buy a property in the commercial space, your credit score and background still matters, but the property's NOI, as we call it, or cash flow profit, is really the driver to underwrite that loan. So you may not have any significant personal cash flow, but you still can buy a commercial property. Your net worth and liquidity are more important than that. But in addition to that, the one big advantage is that it's not just you, but it's your team. So if you do not have all the strength, the experience, the financial strength, you team up with others that have that, and you can buy any property that you can think of.
From Peak Financing, how about a hand for Anton Mattli? Well, this year, our token Canadian was able to make it back with us. Let's say hi to the author of Magnetic Capital and the host of the Real Estate Espresso podcast, Victor Menasce. Welcome back, Victor.
Hey, Robert, great to be here.
Great to have you here. You did an awesome talk about developing into a downturn. And you think about when we're looking out and prices are going to go down, which they may, and the markets are going to slow down, which they may, doesn't mean we need to stop building stuff. Share some of the wisdom there.
Quite on the contrary. The example I used is it's a little bit like playing the bagpipes. Sometimes you blow, sometimes you want to squeeze the bladder, but it's all got to come out sounding monotone. And it's really how you want to think about what's happening in the economy. Yes, there will be ups and downs. Every project you do is going to span economic cycles. When you sign a 25-year, 35-year loan, there's guaranteed to be economic cycles somewhere in the middle there. You can't tell exactly where or exactly when, but there will be a cycle. But the one thing that you should never bet against is you should never bet against inflation. We have a history of 100 years of inflation. It's here to stay. I can't tell you what the rate will be, but don't bet against inflation. And inflation, as an investor, is your friend.
Victor made some really cogent points about supply chain. So we've heard that lumber is up and prices are up and stuff is stuck on boats and it's hard to get here. But give us some of the perspective you shared today, because that was fascinating.
So what's happening in supply chain is that it's very unpredictable. You'll get quotes from suppliers saying windows are 30 weeks or air conditioners are 30 weeks, and then a week later, all of a sudden, all kinds of things are available on 10 days lead time. And it's because customers have been buying and placing multiple orders to mitigate their risk. And then they will cancel orders, and all of a sudden inventory appears out of nowhere. Maybe it's shadow inventory, maybe it's things that they no longer need. Inventory is appearing all over the place. We see it in lumber. Folks ordered more than they needed. All of a sudden they're getting rid of excess inventory. Even Lowe's, right now, as reported last week in the Wall Street Journal, is sitting on $20 billion of inventory. All I can tell you is I'm expecting to see sales at Lowe's this year.
How about a hand for Victor Menasce? You're tuned to the Real Estate Guys radio program at the 20th Annual Investors Summit on Sand.
Need help with your real estate investment portfolio? Check out the resources page at realestateguysradio.com.
Hey, ever wished you could go back in time and do some tax planning? Now you can, just like Marty McFly. Lucky for you, a brand new federal law just made this possible with an EQRP to get tax deductions and reduce your taxable income from last year, so you can use that tax savings to invest in real estate, Bitcoin, gold, even your own business. Whether you're a full-time investor, doctor, government employee, even if you have 5 or 50 employees, the EQRP works and is your secret weapon, and now it's retroactive. Hey, I'm Damion Lupo, and we have your solution. By the way, if you got bad advice and used an IRA for an apartment syndication, you are sitting on a U-bit time bomb. But don't worry, there's a solution, the EQRP. The EQRP company is ready to help you get control of your money, kill U-bit, and help you pay way less taxes. Want to learn more about this strategy? Send an email to eqrp@realestateguysradio.com for my special EQRP report. Paying tax or letting Wall Street suck you dry is dumb. Your first step is freeing your retirement money by sending an email to eqrp@realestateguysradio.com today.
Hey, this is Phil Collin from Def Leppard and Delta Deep. You're listening to The Real Estate Guys.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Guys radio program with a live studio audience. We are not even halfway through the Investor Summit, so join us next week when you hear from some of the rest of the faculty. But returning for, is it 5 times? It's Dr. Chris Martenson, ladies and gentlemen. Great to have you back, my friend.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Really is.
You know, it's been awesome to watch what you've been doing in terms of your content over the last couple of years. I was with Dr. Dennis Waitley and Kyle Wilson on about the 22nd of January when Dr. Waitley said, have you heard about this flu coming out of Wuhan? You called us like the next day and said, guys, this is going to be serious. Now, we haven't talked at all about that yet, but I know we're going to be having that conversation a little bit to see how much things change. You rely a lot on data. Give us the big picture on how you pay attention to all the stuff you pay attention to.
Well, it's very complicated. I don't read the mainstream news all that much. I find out what they're telling me that I shouldn't really know about. And then I have multiple feeds out there. I trust anecdotes a lot as my first signal. So I follow Telegram, I follow Twitter. I have multiple accounts in each. One's a conservative account, one is a more left-leaning account. That way I'm sure I'm getting a lot of different news, and then I have to filter it and try and make sense of it fast. And that's what I do.
And on day one, you gave us a great talk, and I think there's so many elements there, but a lot of the people, frankly, were a little concerned on some things you had to share, and I think we need to know about that.
So there are some things to be aware of, and you know, on first blush, sometimes people come in contact with the information I give, and they think, uh-oh, they get that tightening, that sphincter tightening moment, like this is trouble, right? And it might be, but it really is only trouble for people who can't see it coming. And if you can see it coming, then you have a better chance of being where the puck is going to be. So this is a really important time in human history, not just U.S. history, where we are in terms of resources and geopolitics, China versus the United States. These are all big 30,000-foot things that if you get them, though, they really help you understand what's about to happen in our own lives. And energy is the thing to understand. If I could give one thing to people, would be the energy goggles I have. If I could give them to you, I would. And that's the work I do, try and help people understand this through energy.
Well, and that's such an interesting point because we often take for granted energy, but the cost of energy is included in virtually everything we consume.
Well, it is, and it's everything's a derivative of energy, everything. So this is a whole new regime that we're in at this point in time. The world is now past what's known as peak oil. It's past peak conventional oil. We've got a few tricks up our sleeves. Shale oil was a trick. But fundamentally, the cheap and easy stuff is in the rearview mirror. China has officially announced in 2018 they're past their own private peak of oil on their continent in the region. Russia just announced it just a few weeks ago. Lots of countries have, and the number of countries that are capable of exporting is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And that's the world that's going to dominate the next 10, 20 years. It's going to be a big thing.
Chris had a lot of charts and graphs and proof in his presentation. If he convinced you that we're past peak oil, round of applause. Do your own research, but if that's true, then we have to start thinking about changing some stuff in our lifestyle. Not to freak out about it, but to, as we'd say from the Boy Scouts, be prepared.
Absolutely. So being resilient it's not about having some dried food in your basement or anything like that. It's a mindset more than anything. And I think we're going to get back to a world that my great-grandfather would have recognized in every grandparent prior to that. It's just a world where relationships matter, your skills matter, who you know, how well you know them, what you're capable of producing for yourself, and if you can't, who you know that can do that. So I think this crowd is uniquely positioned for that because you know you're as strong as your team. Well, my message is it's time to build those teams, but within our own neighborhoods now and as close as we possibly can because none of us can do it all.
From peakprosperity.com, that is Dr. Chris Martenson, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for listening today. We'll be back next week with more from the 20th Annual Investors Summit. Join us again next week with George Gammon, Ken McElroy, Kim Kiyosaki, Kyle Wilson, Danielle DiMartino Booth, and lots more. Until then, go out and make some equity happen.
This episode of the Real Estate Guys radio show is brought to you by Paradigm Life. Powerful cash management strategies using life insurance. Learn more at beyourbank.com. Mid-South Home Buyers. Low-cost, turnkey cash flow properties in Memphis, Tennessee. Corporate Direct. Asset protection strategies for real estate investors from attorney and rich dad advisor Garrett Sutton. Find these and other great companies under the Resources tab at realestateguysradio.com. To learn how you can expose your product or service to the Real Estate Guys audience, call 888-489-7723 extension 4. That's 888-489-7723 extension 4. Or use the feedback page at realestateguysradio.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week right here on the Real Estate Guys Radio Show.